The first one lands on your shoulder before you see the sky move. Not a graze, not a brush. A full weight landing, talons through your jacket, the specific puncture sensation of something gripping. And then the sound arrives, which is wrong because sound should come first and it didn't, which means the bird came out of nowhere so fast that your nervous system registered the contact before your ears registered the wing beat. You turn. The sky above Þórsmörk is black, not storm black, not cloud black. The specific black of 10,000 corvids banking in unison over a river valley, moving as a single shape. And the shape is moving toward the 11 people standing in a loose cluster on the trail behind you, who are still looking at their phones, still pulling on their rain jackets, still somewhere in the world where this is a nature moment and not whatever this is. You have been leading tours in the highlands for 7 years. You know bird behavior. Mobbing is real. Ravens will harry a threat, dive and retreat, make noise. What is happening above you is not mobbing. There is no noise. That is the first thing that is wrong. 10,000 birds and almost no sound. Just a concussive air displacement of synchronized wing beats. A pressure you feel in your chest before you hear anything, and then the formation breaks and they come down. Your group doesn't understand yet. You can see it in the way Marta is still raising her camera. That asymmetry between what you can already read in the air and what they can still afford to not know closes in about 4 seconds. What's coming will not stay in this valley. Your body already knows that. Your brain is still working on catching up. There is a staircase. The floor is what just happened to you. What's above you is still out of view. But in 7 years of reading Highland weather, of watching pressure systems and animal behavior and the specific way a landscape changes when conditions shift past a certain point, you have learned to trust the moment when the thing you're seeing doesn't fit any category you have. When the pattern is wrong in a way that doesn't have a name yet, the birds are going to stop eventually. The group is going to need stitches and reassurance and a van back to Reykjavik. You're going to need to file an incident report. All of that is true. All of that will happen. And none of it is the thing you are actually afraid of, which is the thing you almost caught in the formation before it broke. The specific geometric arrangement of 10,000 birds dividing into 11 subgroups in the last 4 seconds of descent. 1 per person. You are the only one who saw that. For now, you are the only one who knows what it means. You're not sure you know yet, but something in you does. In the highlands, the weather can change in the time it takes to zip a jacket. You have said that to every group you've guided. You have never meant it the way you mean it now. Here's what you know. By the time you get the group behind the outcrop, ravens are tool users. They solve multi-step problems. They recognize individual human faces and pass that recognition to their offspring. You have known this for years the way you know any interesting fact. Something you say on the trail between the glacier and the hot spring. A piece of natural wonder you offer as context. You are now knowing it differently. The attack lasted 6 minutes. In those 6 minutes, the formation held 11 distinct vectors. You counted them as it was happening. You don't know why. Some part of you that didn't have time to be terrified was already doing the math. 11 tourists, 11 descent paths, no 2 birds targeted the same person. And then, this is the part you can't stop turning over. They withdrew at the same moment. Not scattered. Withdrew. A specific reversal of vector, synchronized, the formation reassembling overhead before the birds rose out of sight. Your radio crackles at 3:47 p.m. It's Gunner at base camp. Voice flat in the specific way his voice goes flat when he is trying not to communicate the scale of what he is communicating. He asks if your group is okay. You say yes, more or less. He says there are reports. You ask what kind. He says he's sending a data pull to the satellite phone. He says it's not just us. You step away from the group while the file loads. The preliminary data is from a wildlife aggregation network, the kind of automated alert system that cross-references incident reports across ranger stations, research outposts, and monitoring platforms globally. The poll covers a 6-hour window. You read it 3 times before your brain accepts what it's showing you. Jackdaws in the UK. crows across North America, Pacific Northwest through Ontario, all within a 90-minute window. A coordinated starling event in Rome that witnesses described as targeted. Not a murmuration, not a thermal event. Targeted specific individuals singled out in a public square. Magpies in South Korea, rooks in Russia, 19 countries. The word coordinated appears 17 times in under 4 pages, always in quotation marks, as if the person compiling it needed the buffer of uncertainty even while they were removing it. All corvids, all social species, all within the same 6-hour window. The attack in Þórsmörk started at 1:23 p.m. You look at the timestamps on the other incidents. Some are earlier, some are later. They are distributed across the window as if whatever started this moved through time zones. You stand at the edge of the outcrop with the phone in your hand and the wind off the glacier on your face, and the group 30 meters behind you arguing about whether to walk back to the cars or wait for extraction. And you do the thing you always do when information stops making sense. Break it into parts. Corvids, global, synchronized, coordinated attack behavior. No prior warning in any monitoring system. No territorial trigger. No environmental stressor that crosses 19 countries simultaneously. The last entry in the data pool is from a research station in Tasmania. The observer's note reads, "They withdrew at exactly the same time." I checked my log against the other reports. It was the same time. All of them. Same withdrawal. Different species, different continents, same moment. The wind off the glacier is very cold. You have been standing in it for longer than you should. You go back to your group. The first thing that goes is the satellite signal, which you don't notice immediately because you're focused on Magnus, who has a deep laceration above his eyebrow that needs pressure out. And by the time you look at the phone again, the signal bars are gone. Not intermittent. Gone. The phone is showing full battery and no carrier, which is technically impossible given where the towers are, relative to your position. You try the radio, static. Mental inventory, 2 guides, 11 tourists, 1 first aid kit, 3 working flashlights, a van 4 kilometers down the trail, and whatever the batteries in the satellite phone have left before the device becomes a rectangle. What you don't have? A way to reach anyone who might have more of the data pool. A way to know if the withdrawal was the end of something or a pause inside it. What you have is a group of 11 people who mostly don't know what you know, a 2-hour window of light, and a decision you can see coming towards you the way you can sometimes see a weather system from the high ground. The shape of it clear, the impact still a few minutes away. Ingrid has been sitting apart from the group since the attack ended. You noticed this while you were working on Magnus's cut. She positioned herself on a flat rock at the edge of the outcrop, facing south, and she hasn't moved. You assume shock. You've seen it before, the way some people go very still when adrenaline crashes. Then you see what she's doing with her hands. She's drawing, not sketching, not doodling, diagramming. Small, precise marks in a field notebook, cross-referenced with something on her phone, which means her phone still has data, which means the signal loss is selective, which means something about that is wrong in a way you don't have time to follow yet. You brought her group from the parking lot at 9 a.m. She introduced herself as a postdoc researcher, Wildlife Cognition, University of Bergen. She said it the way academics say their credentials on tours, as explanation for why she was asking unusual questions, which she was. She wanted to know about corvid territorial ranges in the highlands. She wanted to know if you'd seen any unusual aggregation behavior in the past 2 weeks. You told her no. She wrote something down. You walk over to her now. You look at the notebook. The diagram is a timeline. The x-axis labeled in UTC. The y-axis labeled with species. She has plotted the incidents from the data pool Ikiki, which means she received the same file you did, which means someone sent it to her separately, which means this is not the first time today someone thought she needed to know. She looks up at you. Her expression is the expression of someone who made a decision before you walked over and is now committed to it. I need the satellite phone. She says, not a request, a statement of necessity, the kind you make when you've already run the cost benefit and the calculation came out clear. You ask her why. She turns the notebook so you can see the full diagram. 2 timelines. The top one is the incident data, the attacks, the withdrawals, the species, the locations. The bottom one is shorter, 4 entries. The first is from 6 weeks ago, a coordinated starling event in Edinburgh. Small, initially logged as a murmuration anomaly. The second from 3 weeks ago, crows in Vancouver, non-territorial aggressive behavior, brief, 1 person injured, filed as isolated. The third from 10 days ago, Jackdaws in a town in the Netherlands, documented as unusual, no injuries, no follow-up. The fourth entry on the bottom timeline is today. It's a progression, she says. Scale, coordination, geographic distribution. Every event is larger and more precise than the last. What we saw today is not the peak. It's a data point on a curve. A pause. I need to send this to my contact at the European Center for Disease Prevention and Control. Not because it's disease, because they have the infrastructure to push an alert to every wildlife monitoring network on the planet within the hour. But I need a satellite connection to do it. You look at the group. Magnus is still pressing cloth to his forehead. The 2 Swedish teenagers are sitting against a rock wall. The others are in various states of processing, which in a few hours will become various states of need. The satellite phone has 1 functional use left, maybe 2. There are 4 kilometers of trail between your group and the van. You don't know if the van will start. You don't know if the road is clear. You don't know if whatever just happened here is going to happen again before you reach the parking lot. If you give her the phone and she's right, she sets in motion an alert system covering 19 countries before sunset. That is a real thing, a concrete outcome with a real shape. If you give her the phone and she's wrong, or right about the pattern but wrong about the escalation, you have spent your last reliable communication link on a research dispatch. Nothing left if someone in your group goes into shock. Nothing left if the trail is blocked. Nothing left. If you keep the phone and she's right, you have 11 people who make it to the parking lot and a progression that no one with the right infrastructure gets warned about before the next event. Whatever the next event is, she's still looking at you. She is not going to ask again. She has the specific stillness of someone who has already made peace with what she's asking you to decide. The 2 Swedish teenagers are 18 and 20 years old. Magnus is 53 and on blood thinners, which, because you check medication information for every tour member before departure. There is a woman in your group. Hannah, she told you on the drive out that she was on the tour because her daughter had bought it for her birthday and couldn't come, and she laughed saying it, and you'd laughed with her, who has been pressing her hand to her arm since the attack and telling you she's fine, in the specific way people tell you they're fine when they are not fine, and do not want to be the one who makes this harder. 1 link left, maybe 2, 11 people, 4 kilometers, sunset in 94 minutes. You run the math again. The math doesn't change. Ingrid is still waiting. You look at the diagram one more time. 4 events, 6 weeks. The curve is not ambiguous. You hand her the phone. She takes it. She doesn't say thank you. She starts composing the dispatch. You watch her hands for a moment. Quick, precise, entirely calm. And then you turn back to your group and you start telling them what the next 4 kilometers look like and where to put their feet and how to pace themselves and all the other things you know how to say when people need to believe they are being led somewhere safe. The call takes 4 minutes. You know because you are counting. You hear her voice behind you, low and rapid. Progression, synchronized withdrawal, cross-species coordination, recommend immediate escalation to Tier 1 monitoring, then silence, then yes, I understand. Send me confirmation when it goes live. You don't hear the rest. You are watching the sky. The van starts. This surprises you more than it should. You sit in the driver's seat for a moment before you turn the key, hands on the wheel, watching the valley through the windshield. The sky is clear. The birds are gone. You have been in this valley hundreds of times. You know the specific way it sounds at dusk, the wind off the glacier, the river, the intermittent call of a raven somewhere above the scree. What you are hearing now is the valley. Exactly the valley. You don't know if that means nothing is wrong. The satellite phone is dead. The last thing it received, 2 minutes before the battery gave out, was a confirmation number from Ingrid's contact. The alert went live. 19 countries, 4 minutes ago. She showed you the screen. She said it was the right call. You don't know if she was talking to you or to herself. Hannah is in the back seat. Her daughter's gift to her, arm wrapped in the extra jacket from your kit. She fell asleep before you reached the main road. She looks like someone who went on a birthday tour and had a difficult afternoon and is going home, which is what she is, which is what all of them are. And somewhere in 19 countries, whatever comes next is either coming or it isn't. You drive south, the road is empty, the headlights pick up the white line and the gravel shoulder and the flat dark of the plain on either side, and you think about the diagram in Ingrid's notebook, the specific shape of the curve, the way 4 points can be enough to see where a line is going. You gave her the phone. You made the call with incomplete information in the direction that put the most people at risk if you were wrong and saved the most if you were right. That is a description of the decision. It is not an evaluation of it. What you keep turning over is not the decision itself. It is the moment just before the attack, when the formation broke, the specific instant when 10,000 birds reorganized from a single mass into 11 vectors, one per person, and descended in silence. You have been replaying it since 1:23 p.m., and the thing you can't get out of your head is not the precision of it or the scale of it. It's that it worked. Whatever it was trying to do, demonstrate capability, establish scale, communicate something in the only language that crosses every species barrier at once. It worked. You understood. Ingrid understood. Someone at a research station in Tasmania looked at their log and understood. If something is sending a message in a language it expects to be read, the question isn't whether the message was received. You don't know what comes after a message. You drive south in the dark. The road is empty. Hannah is asleep in the back seat. The sky above the plane is clear and full of stars, and you are watching it the way you have never had to watch a sky before. Not for weather, not for navigation, but for the specific quality of silence that precedes something you don't have a category for yet. The valley behind you is quiet. You don't know if that means the demonstration is over or if it means they already know you got it.